Welcome to the Chaos Sector, I am Maran. In today's episode, we focus on the latest hoax plastered out in the media. The so-called Buffalo mass shooting was just another hoax to stir up more tension in the racial matrix. As you should know by now, all hoaxes related to race are all about politics. Before we delve in, let's revisit the analysis of previous episodes regarding the political matrix. The narrative in politics is the Democratic Party is for people of quote, color, while the Republican Party is for quote, white supremacists. This is a major problem in America, as specifically the black community has been placed in this category politically, due to the narrative created. Politics is about control anyway, but if you are going to engage in this sham, at least show diversity of character, right? But if you showed diversity politically, it would ruin the narrative. Let's get started.
But I've been telling you one story since we first came on the air, and it was about this man here, Grady Lewis. You were in that Tops earlier this afternoon. We're going to get to that story. But you told me just a few moments ago that you actually spoke with the suspect yesterday. He was here. Tell me more about that.
I seen him, and he looked strange in the neighborhood, but he had a genius shirt on, so I wanted to see if he was a genius. And we sat and talked about string theory, critical race theory, the beginning of civilization, and he seemed like he was a genius, actually. He said he came up.
Does this sound real to you? From the jump, I detect a scripted statement.
Just to see the countryside, and he was going to go out camping. He bought a big thing, a jug of water. He had a little nervous twitch to him. I bought him something to drink, and we sat and talked for about an hour and 45 minutes after seeing the pictures and seeing the blue car that I seen him got into yesterday. So it's a shock right now, and he told me his name was Peyton. So it's a shock.
And we did see a blue car get taken away from this scene just about a half hour or so ago, and you were saying that you...
Wait, so you bought him a drink? I thought he had a jug of water. What drink did you buy him? Did you buy him an alcoholic beverage? He's crumbling with every statement. The script is very weak in this hoax, and we're just getting started. Now the reporter is using a common tactic in hoaxes, leading the horse to the well. Meaning, she is affirming the story with the so-called witness, and confirming it to the audience as being true, and more so, real.
We're speaking with him on a bench that's located outside of this Tops.
Yes.
That's the bench that earlier today, when I first got here, you were the first person I spoke to. You were telling me that bench is your office,
Yes.
and you usually like to stop and sit there and talk
Yes.
to people that are
Yes.
passing by. Today you didn't stop.
Yes.
So walk me through your afternoon here at the Tops.
Well, I went in there and got me some a juice, and I didn't want to sit there today.
Okay, you didn't want to sit there on the day of the shooting. How convenient that you were not in the line of fire from the madman to give this interview about what unfolded. It's so obvious, we have to stop too many times to address oddities and contradictions.
So I walked across the street and I opened up my juice, and as I opened up my juice, I heard what I knew wasn't a firecracker. And I looked up and I seen a guy shooting people. Then I seen a security guard run inside, and then I seen him going after him, shooting. And I saw him come back out, and then he had all camouflage on, and glasses and helmet, and then he put the gun to his head.
You claim you didn't want to sit on the bench that day. So what exactly were you doing across the street? If you so-called have your office on the bench near the supermarket, where you have small talk with people, what were you doing across the street? Just standing there? You didn't feel like having small talk with individuals that day. That's so convenient. Also, since you witnessed all of this in specific detail, why didn't you take your phone out and record the situation from across the street? Where is the emergency call to 911? He is exposing himself in the hoax. He was standing across the street, preparing for the hoax to go down, and he will be interviewed about what he quote, saw across the street. Let's continue though.
Then he dropped it. He took off his gloves. He took off his gun. He put it down. He took off his vest, and then he got on his knees and laid down and put his hands behind his back, and they arrested him at that point.
Now remember, he is across the street. We are assuming in the same area. He is being interviewed right now. He saw all of this, including the suspect's glasses. Yeah, okay, and he claimed that the suspect laid down with his arms behind his back, and the cops arrested him. Are you fucking kidding me? That happened really fast, don't you think? The way he explained that later portion would almost seem as if the suspect got arrested immediately after shooting his victims. Now we know this is literally impossible, because we have to factor in the time frame of calling the police assessing the situation, and proceeding with caution. But in reality, because it's a hoax, this is exactly what happened. Meaning, the cops were already in the area, preparing to set up the crime scene. My days, let's keep going.
And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, you were telling me about the security guard, the former Buffalo police officer, who has tragically died in this incident.
Now, there is a lot happening off camera, such as cue cards, with key words or phrases to refresh Mr. Lewis's memory of his script. This is why all crisis actors being interviewed look all over the place. They have to focus on key words that align with the so-called chronological events being covered by the reporter. Also, the reporter is using coded language by instructing Mr. Lewis with her finger pointed to him, that is almost finished, just need to quote, finish strong. So obvious.
You were telling me today, he told you, no lingering around the store, we gotta keep it clear.
Yes.
You credited that man with saving your life.
Yes, I heard him say to someone, there's no lingering around the store. So, me knowing that he was a Buffalo police officer, I never really wanted to give him an opportunity to say anything to me. So, when I do go, I shop and I leave. And that's the reason why I left. Because I heard him tell people that a couple times. So, you don't really gotta tell me something 4 or 5 times for me to understand.
Oh my fucking days. This guy is done, cooked, put a fork in it. First, you claim that the security told individuals they can't hang around the store, and this is why he left, meaning this is why he wasn't sitting at his office that day. But earlier, he states he just didn't feel like being at his office that day, no mention of a security guard. Let's bring that back.
Today you didn't stop,
Yes.
So walk me through your afternoon here at the Tops.
Well, I went in there and got me some a juice, and I didn't want to sit there today.
But then, he states that if the security guard wasn't there, or if he hadn't instructed him to not linger around the store, he would have been sitting at his office that day. Now to elaborate on this fuckery, let's combine both points in the interview regarding sitting at his office, showing the lies.
Today you didn't stop,
Yes.
So walk me through your afternoon here at the Tops.
Well, I went in there and got me some a juice, and I didn't want to sit there today.
You were telling me today, he told you, no lingering around the store, we gotta keep it clear.
Yes.
You credited that man with saving your life.
Yes, I heard him say to someone, there's no lingering around the store. So, me knowing that he was a Buffalo police officer, I never really wanted to give him an opportunity to say anything to me. So, when I do go, I shop and I leave. And that's the reason why I left. And from what I heard, he went back and he shot at him when he went in the store. So, yeah, but if he wasn't there, I would have been sitting there. So I'm definitely thankful that I heard him say that. Yes, I'm definitely thankful to Mr. Salters. Yes, definitely.
Well,
Forgot a bit of your script. Which one is it, Mr. Lewis? Either you didn't feel like sitting at your office that day, or it was due to the security guard warning individuals to keep the area clear. Of course, this is what happens when a hoax is produced literally on the spot. If you noticed, the script given to Mr. Lewis has a bunch of filler, such as explaining the character of the security guard, who was a former Buffalo police officer, which is not relevant, and how Lewis doesn't need to be told several times about instructions.
Me knowing that he was a Buffalo police officer, I never really wanted to give him an opportunity to say anything to me.
This is all filler, cramming a bunch of context into the story, making himself appear genuine, and making the scenario believable. But he tried too hard. His stuttering, attempting to remember his script on live television, and had several brain farts as a result.
I seen him and he looked strange. I went in there and got me some a juice.
Also, notice the demeanor of this so-called witness. He has a pleasant vibe about him, like he's being interviewed about general questions, not interviewed about a fucking madman who just murdered 10 people. He would not be smiling and joking, he would be hurt, astonished, even traumatized at what he had witnessed that day. There were 10 people massacred, and some were elderly. He would be devastated, not joking and smiling. Because he realizes the hustle, get paid to participate in the hoax, have a script to recite to the media, and even with glaring contradictions, he's confident that the majority rule. That majority ruling is the nation believing that it was real, so his contradictions in this interview are not even detected. We will continue to expose this nonsense, it's mandatory.
So yeah, but if he wasn't there, I would have been sitting there. I didn't want to sit there today. So
This is the chaos sector.